Welcome back to the Getting Results Inc. podcast. My name is Coach Gino, and alongside is Super Coach, Coach Ken. Super Coach, how are you?
We continue to keep America safe for capitalism, and we have a fine capitalist on the podcast today.
Yes, we have a special guest today. We have Chad Shaddox from Streamline Private Wealth. Welcome to the podcast, Chad.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Chad's a longtime Getting Results client, and we're excited to be able to chat with him today. So with that, Super Coach, I'll let you do the honors.
Chad, you're looking very spiffy in your new office. Look at that. Got a nice suit coat on, looking very professional as always. Let's just throw this out there. So, what are some of your favorite principles from Getting Results that you've applied to your business and your life?
Oh man. So there's a lot of them. The first one would definitely that structure sets you free. My life is very structured. I've got a new advisor that I hired 2 months ago. Rebecca reminded him, so my CA, that we are very structured here. And literally if I'm talking to clients until 10 in the morning, if there's 5 minutes left, I'm going to try to call one or two more clients, try to get hold of more people. I don't stop and go, "Oh, there's 5 minutes left. I'll go do something else." So I am very structured. And with, as the business grows, any of the people listening, that as your or your client base gets bigger, you know your business gets bigger, you got to have that structure, or you could spend all day checking emails and returning calls and not be proactive at all. You're being reactive all day. So the structure sets you free is 100% something that we do, something that my staff does, something that my new advisor Logan will do. It's definitely something that I do in my life, all the way from business to the personal life. Personal life's the exact same way. We have to structure it out, or you'll just run in circles all day.
Awesome. So, Chad, you're saying so you have specific times on your calendar for outbound or for generation or client facing time, or there's very specific activities that you have time blocked in?
Correct. And everybody knows the time block. So Rebecca knows exactly when I accept appointments, and when we don't accept appointments, and when I'm calling people, when we're calling people back, all those kind of things. So she can tell them, "Hey, Ken, yeah, Chad's not available. He's going to be able to get back with you this afternoon. It'll probably be after 3:30." So we try to get really specific, and that way we're delivering on that good service that we promised everybody.
So let me clarify something for all the people out there. So a client calls in and says, "Hey, I want to talk to Chad at 2:15." And your people will say, "No, you cannot talk to Chad at 2:15. Chad is available at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or 4 o'clock, either tomorrow, next week, or 7 days from now." Is that
100.
correct? But I thought the client was always right. But what if they needed you?
Well, and again, they probably do need me, but that's what we're here for, and we're still going to be able to be there for them. But again, I can't then drop everything I'm doing and call Gino and then try to get back on task, because I've already have things that I need to do because Ken's coming in that day and I need to prepare for Ken. So it's not fair to my other clients. So people know it. People, I think, appreciate it, because then we're not, it cuts back on the phone tag. It still happens. But if Ken, I'm going to call you after 3:30, then you're looking for my call.
Mm.
So, and then also they can say, well, 3:30 doesn't work, but how about 4? Or what about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? So it just makes it easier for everybody.
Oh, very professional. Kind of like if you called your neurosurgeon up and said, "Hey, I want to see you tomorrow at 12. What is the probability that actually happens?" So it sounds like you respect you and your profession and the value that you do or that you are, and you're truly honoring your time so that you can actually be of highest service to your client.
100%. Yeah, I have to do it for myself, or again, I'm chasing myself in circles all day long, and nobody likes chasing their tail. Yeah, there's those days you come home and you go, "Man, today was a great day," because you were proactive, you had great appointments with your clients, those kind of things. And then there's those other days, I've done it, I'm guilty of it, where you chase your tail all day because you're returning phone calls, you're checking email, and then now my day's messed up, so I'm going to check email again. Well, now I need to go get a hold of Ken. So you go down this, it's the upward cycle, or the downward cycle. So we try to do the upward cycle.
So
Uh,
it
uh,
also sounds like, you've given Danielle the empowerment to really own the calendar, right? And so what had to happen to make this all work for you?
So Rebecca, but yes, I did. That's
No, it's
okay. That's
Rebecca.
okay.
Scar for now.
She
Hundreds of millions of people are going to now know her as Daniela instead of Rebecca.
so
I'll edit that out.
that's
Good.
Rebecca does a fantastic job. So she definitely owns that calendar. And again, typically, if somebody does make an exception on the calendar, it ends up being me. So it's even better a lot of times when clients call, they know, hey, I'm going to call Rebecca so we can get this set up. So because they know I'm like, hey, I don't want to do the calendar. I'll end up screwing something up. Talk to Rebecca. She knows my calendar. She'll get everything taken care of, which really helps.
So for kicks and giggles, when you do make an exception, how does that usually unfold or work out?
So usually what happens is Mr. Big calls or Mrs. Big calls, and they're like, hey, I can only touch base with you on Friday at 9 a.m. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can do that. And then if I do that, then Rebecca might already have something scheduled for me on that Friday at 9 a.m. Or I have something in my personal life, or so it just typically it goes really poorly. So it's just
All right,
better that Rebecca does all of it.
all right, can you repeat that? When I make exceptions, things have a tendency to go really poorly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say it.
Yeah. When I make exceptions, things tend to go really poorly. And that's
All
just the
right.
truth.
Right now you've heard it too, and so did all of our fans. They heard that when you make exceptions, things have a tendency to go poorly. Now, I can also see someone out there sitting at their desk and all clenched up and tight saying, he's too rigid. I could never be that rigid. I need to be able to free form, to do what I want when I want. What would you say to that, Chad?
I mean, we've all been there, right? I've been doing this 23 years. So I used to be that way. I'm better on the fly. I'm not as good.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm way better on the fly. And then you're like, no, then you're chasing your tail all day. Again, it's bad. I've had other financial advisors go, oh, well, I couldn't be a robot like you are. I'm not
Oh,
a robot. It's just I'm structured. And by the way, clients like that and deserve that. If the appointment's at 1 o'clock, I'm not rolling in at 1:05. I'm coming in, 5 minutes early. And then I will let them know, hey, I've got to wrap this up by 2 o'clock because then my next client's coming in. We set expectations. They don't want to be there all day with me. So it's respectful to me. It's respectful to their time. They've got other things to do as well. They want to get in, have us, do what we do, and then they want to get on with their day.
damn. Who coaches this guy? Damn. He's
You have for
good.
a while.
Damn.
Must
Damn.
must be accidental. So he's been listening to the podcast.
Podcasts are great. Thank you,
He's been
Gino.
reading all the articles. Or how about this one, Chad? I work better when I'm under stress. I just perform better when I'm under a lot of pressure.
Again, Ken, when we first started working together, I remember specifically having a conversation with you about a year into it. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but I was like, Ken, it doesn't feel right anymore. And you're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, things are kind of weird because when I come in, I'm not wound up tight and stressed out and all these things. And you're like, well, yeah, because we set up structures, we've got your calendar under control, we've got you down to the right amount of clients, we've done all these things. And I'm like, yeah, it feels weird. And you're like, that's what enjoyment's called. You're not supposed to be stressed out all day every single day. So it was one of those
Spot
things
on.
that took a year of working with you for me to get there, but it can happen. So it can happen for you, everybody listening out there.
Literally, it takes
Awesome.
time for rice to cook, correct?
Yes. And then it's a lot more fun. More fun,
And
more better.
now for once again, for kicks and giggles, if your business is more fun, like what do you think the impact of that is?
Clients pick up on it. Clients, they can feel it. When there's tension in an office or when somebody's stressed out, they're typically not paying attention to the person in front of them. So when you're not stressed out and you're having fun, you're focused on them. They're getting 100% of me, no matter what client it is when I'm in there. But if I'm having more fun, it's going to go way better for them, way better for me, way better for everybody, rather than when I'm stressed out and I'm not picking up on everything they're telling me, or I'm stressed and I'm thinking about, oh, I got to get to that next thing. The next person's coming in. That's not fair to them.
Got it. Got it.
Nice.
So it sounds like when you're present with your clients, it's beneficial for not only for you, but for your client.
100%. Yes. Yes. Better for everybody.
So Chad, how does that translate into what Streamline does really great? What are the things you're proud of when it comes to your business and your clients?
Yeah, I mean, we called it Streamline Private Wealth for a reason, and we want to streamline people's lives and make things easier. We're all as human beings in 2025, everybody's stressed out, everybody's pulled in a million direction, everybody's got kid things going on or grandkid things going on, and their work, their spouse, their business, they've got all this stuff going on. So we want to try to make things easier and leave people better off than when they came in, right? So again, I think of my situation. I don't need anything more complicated. I don't need this new technology. Download our app. It's gonna make your life better. And then, you know, it doesn't recognize my face anymore. I got to remember my password and all this stuff. That's making my life more difficult. So our job is for me, Rebecca, Logan, to make our clients' lives easier. And that's what we do.
But very cool. Actually, speaking of the business, right? So give us a little bit about your history and how you got to here, if you wouldn't
Yeah.
mind.
Been in the business for 23 years. I started straight out of college and my degrees in economics, minored in business finance. I knew I wanted to get into this world. Started with Edward Jones, was there for 22 years, and then transitioned over to Streamline Private Wealth and started my own practice through AM Partners. And it's been a great transition. We got everybody, the majority of our clients moved over. That went well, a lot better than I even expected it would. So we got about 89% of our assets over, about 75% of our households. And there were people that we knew weren't going to be a good fit for Streamline, that we weren't going to reach out to. But again, the majority of everybody came, which was fantastic. And again, it's going so well that we hired Logan, so another financial advisor, to help out. And he started 2 months ago. So
Nice.
um, it's been a great ride.
Beautiful.
So what was the thinking behind adding Logan?
Good question. So the thinking behind adding Logan was you can go a million different directions when you're independent. So your mind's going every which way. And I realized what I enjoy doing the most is helping clients. I'm not a great manager, nor do I want to be. I want to let people know, okay, here's what needs to be done and have them run with it. And Rebecca and Logan are very good at that. I realized that, okay, I don't want to be one of these really big financial firms. What I want to do is be more of a boutique financial firm, kind of specialize in more high net worth clients, typically business owners or executives that need help with advanced tax planning and some of those things, and we make that really easy for them. With Logan, the reason we hired him was to continue to give the same level of service that we've been giving, because I was wanting to continue to grow the business, but you run up against constraints. Rebecca's not licensed, so she can't do the different trades and those kind of things. So I knew if I wanted to continue to grow the business, which that's what's fun to me, is growing the business, and continuing to help out more and more people, we needed to bring somebody in. So we continue to give that same level of service and continue to grow the business. And then also, he's younger. He wants to start his own practice as well, besides just helping our clients. And that's really exciting too. So it's nice to have somebody that's younger, that is thinking in different ways, that's already giving us ideas to make it even better for the client.
How did you find him?
Ooh, good question. So again, I partnered with and partners. So he worked with them. So when I was transitioning my book of business, he was in my office and we worked together really closely for a couple of weeks. The nice thing was you get to know somebody really well when you're working 10, 12-hour days with someone. And I was like, if you ever wanted to be an advisor, we would love to have you here. And I was like, we're a ways off from this, right? I was in the middle of transitioning my business, but I was like, when you're ready, I would love to have you here. And then it was me reaching out to him, and he did want to be out in the field and be an advisor. And again, it's been a great fit.
Nice.
So for everybody out there, so we coach a lot of very, very successful people. And one of the things I've noticed about very successful advisors is that they are always actively recruiting people to get their eye out in the community or the people that they're bumping up against. If this particular person would be a good fit on their team, could be a potential advisor, could be a potential support person, a potential chief operating officer, that they are always eyes open for talent, not only looking for talent, but Chad's a great example. He's also looking for people with ambition. Like Chad is bringing a young buck into the mix who could, oh my God, one day, God forbid, leave Chad and create his own business. But Chad, like all of you, I hope you all have the courage to be able to harness talent and ambition, because when talent is in your midst, your whole company will grow for the better. And yes, they may not stay forever, but so what? Now, I just want you to think about that. And I know there are some people active there actively looking and actively trying to recruit a mediocre person who will never leave their organization. Now, just please contemplate that for a little bit. You're going to actively hire a mediocre person who never leaves your organization. So you are surrounding yourself with mediocrity. There is enough mediocrity in the world to go around. You
No
don't need
question.
any more close to you. So I'll put out there, look for ambition, the go-getter, the one that you may not have for the next 35 years, but you may have them for 2 years or 3 years. And I promise you the impact that they'll have on your organization will be exponential compared to the lifer.
And then I think when you find those really good people, like I have two excellent people on my team right now, then make sure you take care of them,
Yeah.
because I don't want them to go anywhere, right? So I want them to know that, hey, look, the grass isn't greener. Chad's going to treat me fair, and we're going to grow this thing together. And again, all three of us have that ambition to you know be extraordinary. Like you said, it's clients deserve that. They don't want to
Mm.
be with somebody that's mediocre. And again, when we've all met those advisors at conferences or other things, and you're like, wow, this person is a wet blanket. I mean, you imagine they come home from work and they're like, hey,
Huh.
I'm Eeyore, and their spouse and kids got to go, man, that sucks. So you don't want that, right? You want somebody that has the ambition, that's excited. Clients pick up on it, your family picks up on it, and it's more fun. So and it's more fun to shoot for something bigger rather than being just above average, which I feel like a lot of advisors want to be above average. I want to be $1 million producer, and I'm going to put my feet up on the desk. Well, that's not good for the client. That's not good for you. It's not good for your family. That leads to bad things. So, anyways, go ahead, Ken.
Well, actually, I got a question. So post, what's it been? Maybe a year and a half since you made the jump and established Streamline. So what would you say was the biggest challenge of doing that? And then what would you say is the biggest thing that you've said, hey, this is the biggest payoff that I've had, or the it's been the best part of establishing your new place.
Yeah. So the biggest challenge is you get in your own way, right? In your head, you're worried about everything, right? So, you're the number one thing that I told myself is I'm not going to let the people who were given my clients to take care of outwork me.
Mm,
So I was just determined that I was going to work harder than them and bring my clients to me if they wanted to come to me, and if they wanted to stay there, great. That's their choice. But I wanted to make sure that I was going to do that. So, but you gotta stay out of your own head. So what I did to fight that was I knew I was going to be wound up. So I went to the gym daily, uh,
nice.
and it was a non-negotiable. If I knew I wasn't going to get away, I try to get away during the day at lunch hour. If I knew I couldn't for some reason, then I was doing something first thing in the morning. But I knew I couldn't put that off, or that was going to be bad for me. Ken challenged me to meditate more, and so I brought that back into the mix, and that really helped. Because again, you're wound up. You feel like, oh my gosh, here I am starting from scratch again. You're not, but that's the perception
Mhm.
because, your paycheck's zero again. But then you realize quickly how loyal your clients are and how much people do respect you and really enjoy what you do for them. You always say, or at least we always say, we pride ourselves in exceptional service because service is dead in the world today. So it truly came out when people were moving over. I guess just trying to keep your sanity. That was because one person is shocked by it because, you know, it was shocking to them and they need some time to process it. And you're like, oh my gosh, Gino's not going to come over. Oh my gosh, what did I say? Um,
Mm.
and you start going down this downward spiral and you got to go, no, Gino just needs some time to think about it. It was shocking. Right.
Yeah.
Uh, so as far as what the surprises I've gotten out of it, it's just the freedom. It's the freedom to whether it's posting something, a Bible verse on my Facebook or LinkedIn that I couldn't do before. It's so something simple as that. It's having my brand and my logo, which I absolutely love, and I love handing it out. Sounds super cheesy, but it's mine. It's not anybody else's, and I absolutely love that. So that's something I really like. And again, we've had some amazing referrals and things come in that I don't know if they would have came in if I stayed where I was at. They might have. I don't know. But I've had a couple say that they wouldn't have. So that's been interesting as well. And again, it might just be because we're more excited, we're re-energized, we have that freedom and that fun factor and people pick up on it and they want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it. We got to talk about it because branding. I know we know how passionate you are, and I know Super Coach does a lot of great work with helping clients around branding. So you want to share kind of what you've been doing around branding because there's some cool stuff you do.
Yeah, yeah. So again, I know for people listening, I'm just going to describe things, but I've got my coffee mug here. It's got my Streamline logo on there, and it's on the back side. So I've got my glass that has the exact same thing, but that's my water glass. I literally have coffee mugs with the branding on it. Got Yeti wine glasses with the brand on it. Um,
Wow.
Wait, he's not done.
And
koozie,
there's more.
koozie,
Wow, even on the bottom.
I like the
Wow.
koozie,
bottom. That's a
Wow.
that I like.
sticker.
Sticker.
Can you talk about the
Everybody
sticker
loves
thing?
stickers.
Can you talk about the
Everybody loves
sticker
stickers.
thing? By the way, I'd love you to talk. You mentioned during Peerage about the sticker. So I should, after you're done showing us more of that stuff, can you go into that? Because I think it's really cool what you do.
Yeah, yeah. And then I even have like
Wow,
this is a
beanies.
stocking cap. Now, do you need this in Kansas when it's 95 degrees? No. But in the wintertime you do. So
Wintertime, definitely.
so anyways, I absolutely love the branding. We have all this stuff sitting out for clients to take. And then again, most people are like, we don't, I don't want to take anything. And I'm like, no, I really like this part of it. The other thing that is neat is then people have it and they're part of the club, right? So I'll have clients that talk to each other that didn't know that they were both clients because again, everything's confidential. But then Ken's wearing a ball cap and Gino's got my Yeti mug, and they're like, "Hey, I didn't know you were with Chad over at Streamline." So I really like that. The other thing that we do with the stickers is we hand them out to clients. We tell them, "Hey, when you go on vacation, when you go somewhere, take pictures with them." I've had literally pictures from Greece, from Abu Dhabi, from all over the place, and it's really cool. And then we'll put the stickers up in different places. I like to sail. We'll go to the islands, and a lot of those old beach bars have places where everybody puts their stickers up, and our stickers are there. And then we also tell clients, hey, oh, you're going to the British Virgin Islands, look for my sticker, take a picture of that. And so it's part of the fun, right? We all take everything too seriously. So what we do for people is very serious, but also we want to have fun with it, right? And people need more fun in their lives instead of watching CNN all day. That's the opposite of fun.
So let me just interject a sort of a coaching principle for everybody listening and even for all of us. Is you can notice with Chad is that has an overwhelming amount of enthusiasm for what he does and what he's up to. He's enthusiastic. And for all of you out there, if you want to sell more, be enthusiastic. Enthusiasm sells. You can tell, even if you didn't know Chad, that he's a man who is up to something. He's up to something, right? We didn't mention about his lake house and the boats and the burgees and the travel and piloting ships and all the other things that he does. But he's a person that's up to something and he's in alignment. And when you're in alignment, you go further and faster, less fuel. I can imagine some of you out there saying, well, I don't really need to do the brand, or I work for a company itself. I work for a Morgan Stanley. I work for Baird. I work for another one of the major financial companies, and their their brand is good, but if I'm flying a Morgan Stanley flag in Abu Dhabi, am I really promoting myself or am I promoting Morgan Stanley? Well, you're promoting Morgan Stanley. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a fun thing you can all do is there's something called a family crest or developing your own brand or your own identity or your own flag just for kicks. Like, for example, we have a client in Texas who's really into pigs or show pigs, and he has created his own show pig brand for his ranch and for all those things. And most importantly, when he sees it, it makes him feel good about him, right? And the better you feel about yourself, guess what? The better and more enthusiastic you can feel about others. This is not rocket science, and this business doesn't have to be as hard as you make it out to be. Because once again, with Chad, enthusiasm sells. Like, who doesn't want to be around Chad, right? Chad is up to stuff. And since Chad is up to stuff, that creates a moment or creates a gap where you can create a connection. Hey, I can help you with that. Hey, well, wow, really, you're X. And we've talked about in the past too the whole idea of niche weird, right? Niche weird. If you've listened to our other podcasts, and Chad definitely knows what that is. And Chad and I were playing around with his business and who his real client is the other day, and he was saying, "Wow, it's really business owners." And then I made one more question. I'm like, "Well, what kind of business owner? Is it a franchise owner? Is it a high level executive who inherited a business?" And he's like, "No, Ken, they're founders." And I'm like, "Aha, bam, there you go." Right. So Chad is financial advisor who deals with founders. Now, and that little distinction is worth its weight in gold, although it doesn't weigh anything. It's an idea that not only can be communicated, but it helps his people find other founders. There's a difference between franchise owners and founders, and they're both different animals, both good, but slightly different animals. But if you're clearer on who you serve, you're now at advantage.
100%. And again, I think that's the other thing that I've learned. And you guys, I've listened to all the podcasts and things.
Wow.
So I'm not gonna, yeah, fan of the show. So
Long time listener, first time caller.
that's right, long time listener, first time caller. So with that though, the common theme with everybody is you do find what you enjoy doing, and you do that more with people that you enjoy doing it with. And I mean, again, I've been doing this 23 years. I did everything. So ads in the paper back in the day when there was a newspaper. Postcard
Billboards.
mailers. Doing seminars at the Civic Center. And again, I remember I would do those seminars at the Civic Center. I'd have everything printed off. I'm ready to go, and two people show up. Now, again, everybody gets 100% of Chad when I get there. So I go through everything, and I did a great job for him. But yeah, then I'm getting home at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and you're just defeated, right? Instead of getting Royals tickets and taking some clients to a Royals game, and for 3 hours we're having a beer watching the game, and it's because I enjoy being with them. There's no ulterior motive. It's I enjoy being with these folks. This evening I'm going to the Arboretum. The Overland Park has an Arboretum, plants and things. That's plants.
Trees.
So they do a wine tasting there from 6 to 8. And literally, I've told all of my friends about this, and none of them do it. They're like, yeah, it doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, so me and my wife's going to go there. We're going to have wine with friends, and then they're going to bring a couple. And if something happens, great. If nothing happens, great. I get to have wine with people I enjoy spending time with. So it doesn't have to be so hard, I guess is where I was going with that, Ken. That's fun to me. And I'm always want to get to know other good people. And I've had so many good things come from that. And that's the way we prospect now, instead of doing seminars at the Civic Center. There's nothing wrong with it. It worked too. It wasn't fun.
And Chad just shared a secret principle with y'all. And so I'll translate. What he said was he likes drinking wine and being at the Arboretum with there's plants. So since he likes drinking wine at the Arboretum with plants, we have a greater probability of repetition. And all prospecting is about repetition. It's about doing it again. Go listen to the Anvil podcast, doing it again. Now, sometimes we have to trick ourselves into doing things again. And part of the trick is do things that you enjoy to do because you're more likely to repeat them. Because the hard part for all of us, you meet a prospect, you're not going to close everybody. Okay, and right, and that's, remember, you're not going to close everybody. And to close 10 people, you may need to meet with 50, 30, 20, 10. I don't know what your numbers are, but if you're smart, you kind of know what they are. But if you're continually in the mix, greater probability of success.
Yeah. The other thing, it's clear, Chad, that you definitely have a design and you're executing. You can see it. And as Super Coach loves to say, further, faster, less fuel.
And that would be the thing that I would also really encourage everybody to do is figure out what you want. Like, what do you want? Because once you get to a certain level, it's not about the money anymore. It's okay, I want to help more people. As Ken, you've said before, if you're a heart surgeon, you don't go, I'm done saving
I've saved
people.
enough lives. That's enough.
I want the rest to die.
Shit, I got enough money.
That's not who you are. You want to help more people because I'm going to be able to lower somebody's lifetime tax bill and the other guy or gal can't. So I need to get in front of more folks. So I am truly helping these people and it keeps me engaged. So I'd said the number one thing is when you don't have that design and know what you're going for, then you go on autopilot. And to me, I have so many friends, other advisors that I've seen that are on cruise control and they're going through the motions. I got to complete annual reviews. I return emails and phone calls, and I golf once a week, but they're not happy. If you're golfing once a week and you're doing all these things and you're growing the business, that's what keeps you engaged. That's what is fun. It's the people that are sedimentary, that are on autopilot, that are aren't mediocre, but they're going back to being mediocre because
Chad,
they're
what
not
are
doing
some of
anything.
if someone's on autopilot, what do you think some of the clues are? Like, so I'm on autopilot if.
Oh my gosh. If you're doing the same thing this month that you did last month, and you were going to do something with a client outside of the office, but you haven't done one thing in a month. If you're not haven't done one thing in a month, and the thing that drives me nuts is people will go, yeah, I'd love to do what you're doing, Chad, but I have kids. I have
I'm
kids too.
busy.
I'm busy. Some of the most annoying things that people will tell me. We're all busy. We all have important things. We're all really important people. Just ask us.
There.
So, but instead, get out of your comfort zone. Go do something. And again, it could be as simple as going and having a beer with Ken, who's your client, and you go for a beer at 4
At the
o'clock
Yeti.
at the Yeti. So like, go do something like that. And but it's the people that are on autopilot that you see that come in and it's like they're punching the clock. Ching ching. They punch it when they walk in. They punch it at 5 o'clock when they walk out. And it's like, you're not a factory worker. What are you doing? Like enjoy this. Be engaged, be excited, but if you're not having fun anymore, that's the number one thing. If your marriage isn't going well, if your kids don't like you, there's a lot of ways
There's
to
a lot of
find
market.
out.
Your wife doesn't like you. Your husband doesn't like you. Your kids don't like you. But you're making a lot of money.
Your staff doesn't like you, but you're making a ton of money, and it's
But
and
you're
it's
making
great.
a lot, and you're going on trips, and you
Yeah.
got a plaque and a trophy to show
All
it.
the trophies, all the trophies.
Lined up on the wall. Yes. All right, Chad. So one more thing. So that you were a client of ours in the past. So for all our ex-clients who are listening out there, Chad at one time was also an alumni client. So he worked with us for a few years and then he took some time off. So if you could just sort of highlight that, like not only why you took time, you can say whatever, but time took off, but really bigger part is why did you re-engage? Because I taught you all the shit before.
And it's funny because I'll have advisors, good friends that are like, "You're still working with Ken? Do you not have it figured out yet?" So the quick answer is no, I don't. So um, when I worked with you guys the first time, we had met at an event, and basically I was around, let's say, 600 gross. Um, you taught me the principles. We started working on things. Got my marriage better. Me being a better dad, better business owner, got me structured, working with the right clients, and I go from 600 to, let's say, 900 gross, 950. Well on my way to being $1 million producer. And so felt good about it. Felt like, okay, well, I got the principles down. I know what I'm doing. I don't need somebody to hold me accountable. I'm accountable myself. I'm big boy. So um, I was like, hey, I think I've got this figured out, Ken. Thank you. You've changed my life. This has been amazing, but I'm going to go do it on my own. So then I went and did that, and it was great. Still was moving forward, but then I noticed I plateaued again, right? So I plateaued and then had a difficult situation with staff, and then it was actually my wife who said, hey, why don't you call Ken again? I think you could really use working with Ken. So again, spouse is smarter than me, and she mentioned that. So I call you up and say, hey, you taking new people, and luckily you had an opening, and been working with you ever since. And I know I've told you before, but I was like, I'm not going back to that, because once you get to a certain level, it's lonely at the top, right? So even when you're talking to your friends and buddies that are advisors that are doing a great job, that are at the same level as you, you're doing it differently. They're a lot of them tend to run a quantity model instead of a quality model. We're going for the quality model, right? So by doing it that way, you can get sucked into doing old habits, right? That don't align with me and what my design is. Instead, it's somebody else's design. So it's great to have you all as a sounding board, and also somebody to push you to do better, because you can fall back into mediocrity really quick. And I see it all the time. So I need somebody to go, Ken has no problem saying, Chad, yeah, you could do that, but that sounds lame. Why don't we do this instead? Doesn't that sound more fun?
Or
So,
hey,
and it's
why
true.
don't you go to the West Coast? One day I will. One day.
Yep. Perfect example. So it's great because you are continually pushing me to improve, to be better, to be a better version of myself. And I feel like that's kind of what our duty is as an advisor, as a husband, as a dad. I continually want to get better and try to find balance. And there's no such thing as perfect balance. So once you start to get out of balance, it's nice to have somebody help redirect you.
Chad, you also you came back to coaching, but you also seem to attend every year for Peerage, and you've been to our recent see. Why do you do those as well?
Question.
Yeah, great
On
question.
that, I love that we're around other like-minded people that are doing big things. Again, the whole world is trying to be mediocre, right? As Ken has said before, when you're doing really well, they're trying to push you down because you're doing too well. These people over here need more. And then when you're not doing bad, they tend to try to lift you up. But when you're the great mediocrity, you're staying in there. You're swimming in that pool. So it's nice to be, if you're an Olympic swimmer, to go up against other Olympic swimmers, instead of just swimming against the old guy at the YMCA, right? So that's the reason I like it. I don't know if that analogy made sense, but that it's continuing to get pushed, and it's continuing to be around other people that are up to things, that are doing big things, and big things with their career and with their life.
Love it. I got one last question for you. So, what's it look like for Streamline a year, 2 years? What's your vision for the future for you and Streamline?
Wow. So my vision for the business is, my 5-year goal is that I'd like to have 100 households that average around 5 million apiece, and then Logan helping me with the other households that I have, and then him creating his own business. So, and again, I think Logan is that ambitious person that we're going to need to look for a new Logan at the end of those 5 years. So right now we're in the middle of getting Logan trained up, the three of us working better to go further and faster with less fuel. but then it's going to be full steam ahead. So I'm really excited about that.
Super Coach, any last questions for Chad before we begin to close out?
Chad, you're an awesome spokesmodel for getting results. So
Definitely.
appreciate you. I mean, you should do more of these. I mean, you got your voice cadence and your
He's got a
look. So
radio
maybe,
voice,
yeah,
doesn't he,
no,
too?
well, he's got a radio voice and he's got a face for TV too.
Yeah.
You can do
Thanks for
both.
radio.
Face for TV. No, you're handsome. You can do it. No,
So no, you guys have truly done phenomenal things for me and my business. So can't thank you guys enough. So truly,
appreciate it.
truly appreciate you guys.
Another example, keeping America safe for capitalism. There's an
There you
example.
go. Hey,
Proud
Ken, I had
capitalist.
someone ask me, why does Ken keep saying that? What does he mean by that? So I guess let's just take a 1 minute. Why do you keep saying that?
Well, all of us need a purpose. You need a design. So I believe what our job is to protect the motive power. People who make a lot of money, for all you mediocre-ites out there, I know there's not many of you listening, but it is very difficult to make a lot of money, right? It's a unique skill set, but people like Chad are the people that move the world, that make the world a better place, right? Our school system doesn't teach how capitalism actually works. It's an exchange of value, right? But no, Chad doesn't bring a gun to his appointments and say, "Hey, you're going to do business with me, or I'm going to put a bullet in your leg." No, his clients are smart, and the reason why they do business with him is because he provides more value than he costs, and then he accelerates those people. You see, that's the beautiful thing about our society and how we work. Our system makes people better off, right? It's an exchange of value. Now, I know there's always people out there, we got to throw capitalism as evil. Is it really? Right? People choose, right? It's about freedom of choice, freedom of people, and keeping America safe for capitalism, I believe, is one of the highest duties that we can all do. And that's why you hear me rant every now and then about God, guns, and capitalism. Okay, you need a higher power above the government. That's God. The reason why you need guns is because you need to keep and maintain private property. Okay, right? Without private property, this whole thing falls apart. And then, of course, in capitalism is the exchange, free market, free people, exchange of ideas and concepts. See,
Love it.
I too was an economics major. Those out there, read Hayek. Hayek, Australian School of Economics. Hayek. On the road to serfdom, you will discover why large government is dangerous. See him now
Thank
going
you,
on.
Super Coach. There he goes. All right. The passion's there. Chad, thank you for joining our podcast today. Great job and
Great
continued
job.
success to you. I know you're going in big places. There's no doubt about that. So thank you
Thanks,
again.
guys. Really
All
appreciate
right.
it.
To our listeners, thank you for listening to our podcast today. And if you got value from our podcast, please share, like it, forward to friends, peers. We can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and of course, gettingresultsinc.com. Until our next episode, be great.